Hello everyone. So time for another drawing video. Today's not going to be so much of a tutorial as much as maybe a behind the scenes kind of a thing. Draw along with me kind of a video. I wanted to kind of show you how I was been working through a panel for, it's like an irregular shaped panel for a Celtic Cross I'm working on, which is, I'll show you a little bit of it. This is my latest project that I'm working on. It's going to be wood burned onto something. The drawing's not done yet. I still have a few things. I'd like to put some ivy in, maybe here, maybe drape it through around the cross. I don't know. I'm not totally thrilled with what's going on in the middle here, but I'll work on that later. But this is basically what we're working on today. One of these panels. Wanted to show you the pattern that I used for that. And it's basically essentially the same. It took me, it's not, it's not random. I did take a long time a lot of trial and error went into this to try and find just the right look that I was going for. I wanted to give the design some air, some space, elongate it in some places, but I also wanted symmetry. So it took me a little bit, and the one that I used in this drawing is pretty much the same. There's a couple of areas that I think I tweaked just because I wanted a little something different, but more or less it's the same. So how I did it was I started off with a grid that has 4 tiers. The top tier is 9 boxes across, 3 boxes down. Then under that I have 7 boxes across, 5 down on center. Then the next one I have just 1, 5 across. And then under that I have 5 down, 5 down and 3 across on center. So this is kind of where I started with my grid, and I kind of made it to fit in with the drawing. Of course it was much smaller and much more difficult to work with, but this is basically how I started. And from here, and I drew out the boxes and I marked off the center dots for all of the boxes. And most of these will have dots on the corners as well, but that's not as important at this point in time. So what I did next was I took a straight edge and I just went in between each of these dots, and I drew a line, dots. So we're not touching the dots. I think I did this in another video too, where I showed you how I did some of that. I'm not going to do this whole thing because I already drew it out for you, but essentially we just go in between all the dots on the diagonal. And the reason why we do that is that the diagonal is going to give you your path. It's going to show you the path that you're going to go with your thread. So we do that diagonal. Then once this is all filled in with that direction, then you got to go in the opposite direction to give it that sort of diamond I can't talk. Diamond pattern. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I think you get the gist. I think you can understand how to draw lines, right? And you would fill everything in between the lines, the dots. Okay? And once you have all that filled in, it will look like this. So you have all your diagonal lines in. And then you work on putting in whatever breaks you want. And again, like I said, I worked many hours trying to work out, and I screwed up and I had to start over, and you would not believe it. But I finally did come up with something that I was happy with. So these are where I put in the breaks, and the breaks are where you can't pass these with the line. So ordinarily when you're following these lines, doing knot work, you know, you're going like this, but once you come across one of these lines, you can't cross it. And what that does is it gives you some air, some space in the design, rather than everything just kind of going. It gives you a bit of flair, and it adds some interest to the design. Okay, so that then becomes this. So you're going, and all you're doing is going, let's see, where can we start? We can start here, and you're just kind of following the diagonals. You're doing this mainly on the diagonals. Now, the only time that might change is like somewhere like here, you might not want it to be, and I'll show you this in a second. Again, I'm not doing this whole thing because I've already done it over here, and I think we all understand how to see. Once you hit a break, you turn and you go on the diagonal, on the diagonal, on the diagonal, and you follow it till you can't go any further. So that's a break. And you go on the diagonal, on the diagonal, on the diagonal, on the diagonal. So we just kind of follow it around like that. Sometimes these skinny areas, rather than doing a couple of loops here, you might want to straighten this out and just do like a straight. That could be something interesting to do. But basically this is how we're laying out where our thread is going, and it looks random, but once you get all of your loops in, you realize it's not random at all. So let's just do a little bit of constructing the thread and giving a little style, a little bit of over and under. So like in the corners, you want some like Gothic flair, right? Right? And at the moment, I've decided I'm not going to worry about overs and unders just yet. I'm just going to sort of fill in the pieces of the threads. Whoops. There was something bumpy underneath. So all this up top, they would all have archwork. That's a little sloppy. Not that it matters, this is still rough. This is not. There's a lot that has to happen between now and a finished piece anyway. Alright, I'll give it some flair. Give it some flair. And I've discovered that I like doing it this way, maybe more so than other techniques. When I'm doing something complex, it makes it less stressful. And you can see it's starting to shed. It's starting to come to life, right? And these will eventually link up with each other. Alright, so we got the corners and the very top done. Let's kind of do in here. And you see in between these two breaks, the line can pass. I think we'll do a little and in between these two breaks, the lines can pass. I thought I had that done already, I guess not. And again, I'm not too worried about it being pristine right now because it's still in the working phase. This is still very much a rough piece. Alright, let's give it a little flare in this corner. And it can be fun to just spend an afternoon playing around with different kinds of grids. Though I have to tell you, trying to figure out where to put the breaks was not fun. So the center's done. I think what I did with the center on my actual artwork, if you see there's space here, I think I did a cross in there, which would be probably right here. Okay, so that's how I modified that. Alright, let's do, we'll follow this. Give this corner a little flare. And it's really cool because you can start seeing everything come into life now. It's kind of like, you know, if you're doing a renovation and you're looking at a whole lot of construction and stuff, and then finally you get to a point where you're starting to do finishes, or at least heading in that direction, and then you can see what's happening, and it gets exciting. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to do this whole thing, because my phone, I do my videos on my phone, and my phone is not loving the long videos anymore. I need a new phone. So I am kind of trying to speed this along a little bit and not make it take too long. So I may just do part of it, and just so you can kind of get a gist of what I've been working on, how I've been putting things together, maybe inspire you to do something a little bit more complex. It can be done. This was interesting in here, let me tell you. Doesn't look like it would be that hard, but it, for some reason, I couldn't get it right. So let me know what you think about these little sort of behind the scenes kind of videos. Like I said, this isn't a true tutorial. I just did one of those. It's a Triskiel. So you might want to check that out. It's a video I did just before this one. But this is more or less just kind of behind the scenes, showing you what I've been working on. This is destined to be a wood burn piece. Well, not this, but my art piece is going to be wood burned onto a plaque. And still not sure what I want to do with it. I think I want to do some ivy strands somewhere in there, but I don't want to make it too complicated either. It is possible to take something that looks good and ruin it by overdoing stuff. If I think this is getting too long, what I might do is break it up into a couple pieces, but I am trying to just do this all in one go. And hopefully my phone cooperates with me. Alright, let's see. Did we get them all? Oh, if we didn't, we'll figure it out as we go. Alright. Now I think what I might do is kind of go along and try and erase the guidelines there in the middle, because I think it's not necessary and it looks sloppy. And this is where I feel it's kind of fun. You're just tracing a line and kind of seeing where it's going. It's just meandering around. Takes a wild stroll along the page, doesn't it? This is what made it so complicated to do this. And if there's anybody out there who does this sort of thing and maybe has some advice to share, feel free to comment and share. I'm always open to new suggestions. I consider myself a lifelong learner. It just kind of, you follow the strand and it just kind of goes all over. I'm always astounded at that. It just kind of meanders all over the place. It's just all over. And somehow it all works. And yes, it does work. I've tried it. Me 5 minutes just to get rid of and back up again. And we're still going. We're still going. This is all one strand, believe it or not. I'm pretty sure this is all one strand. It's been a few weeks since I touched this, but maybe not. Yeah, I think it is all one strand. Okay, so I'm going to take a darker pencil now. I'm going to go in there with my, and pick a spot. Now once you pick that spot, you're going to stick with it. Don't jump around, because this is where we'll start doing our overs and unders. Alright, so I'm deciding that this is going to be an over. Okay? And that means that the one before it has to be an under. One after it has to be an under. Okay? And as the strand goes along, it's going to do another over before it stops and does an under. And then it's going to go again, and it's going to do an over, and then it's going to stop. Before it does an under. And it's going to go again. It went over, stops at the next one, and goes under. It's going to go over, under, and then it's going to go over this one. And then under. And then it's going to wrap back around and it's over. Then it's going to stop at the next one and go under. And it's going to go over. And it's already set up to go under. It's going to go over. And it's going to stop here and go under the next thread. Over, under. Alright, it's going to go over. And then it's going to stop. And it's going to go under. And then over. Alright, now we're still going. Over the next one. Under. And in this corner it's going over. So when it gets to this thread it's going to go under. And then it'll go over. Hopefully this page don't get too smudgy. Okay, and then we're going to go over, under, and then it's going to hit this break here and turn and go over the next line. That was just awful. We're just going to pretend I didn't do that. Alright. Then when it hits this line, it's going to go under. It's going to wrap itself around and go over this line. Let's put our little bridge there. And it's going to hit the wall and turn and go over. And it's going to go under this thread, over this thread, set up to go under that thread, and it's going to hit the wall and turn. And go under that thread. You can see it happening. You can see it happening. Alright, it went over, under. Let's do a nice little corner. It's going to go, went under this thread, the next one it's going to go over it. Alright. Under. It's really interesting to see where this thread goes too. To see how it travels around the page. under, which means this is an over. Under. The next one's an over, which makes this an under. Under the bridge, over the bridge. That's what some people... Alright, let's take care of this corner. We already know this is an over. Under the bridge. Over the bridge. And after a while, it just becomes a meditation. All right, so we are under. So it's going to go over this thread and go back under. Comes out from under and it goes over another thread. Hits a wall, turns, goes over another thread until it goes under again. Then it goes over again, goes under again, and over again. I'm starting to get a little sloppy. Okay. Now, here's where we left off. We're going under, over the bridge, under the bridge, over, where are we? We're going underneath that one. Over, under, all right. All right, it's going to go under that bridge, over, under, over, you can see where this can be frustrating to try and create one of these though, because there's nothing worse than getting to the end with a very long thread like this and realize, oh, I screwed up, and you have to go back and figure out where you screwed up and redo everything from that point on. That's fun. I'm being sarcastic, it's not fun. So now we have both corners of the top. The top's almost on. And we're looking good so far. I'm just kind of going now, hitting the stuff I've marked. So it's very helpful to mark where a line has to go under as you go. It helps you double check as you continue to draw your line. And just don't get impatient and start jumping around, because you will get confused and screwed up at some point. Alright, working through it. Hopefully this isn't too long. And so far, we're looking good. Just watching out for my break there. For some reason, this bottom part drove me crazy. I just had such a hard time, and I don't know why. Every time I thought I had it, I realized something was either wrong with the design or I screwed up on my overs and unders. So let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video. Some people like to follow along with this kind of thing. They like to follow and get into the groove of watching things appear. I'm one of those people. I like that. I like watching somebody draw something and having it appear before our eyes. Something magical about it. But some people find it boring, so, you know, to each his own. But if you guys like this, I'll do more of it. As long as my phone can handle it, right? We're almost done, so. Yep, this is all one thread. You can believe it, it's pretty sure. We're getting to the end now, so. So we're just following one long ass thread that just weaves under and over itself to create a really intricate pattern. One long thread, huh? This is where I gotta remind myself, slow down. I get excited because I start seeing it getting finished. And oh my God, it's done, guys. Check it out, that long thread is done. So we can go in here now, we can get rid of the breaks. As much as I can. I drew it really dark because I wanted you guys to see it. Normally you're not going to draw these breaks this dark because then you have to deal with this. Trying to erase them. My horsehair brush. I'll do a little bit of touch-ups and then I'm going to wrap this up. Alright, I don't think we did too bad here. Now, I mean, this isn't perfect, but, and I had to do it fast, but there you go. That is one long thread that just meanders through the entire pattern. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 breaks in this one. And in my version I added a couple. There's one here I know I added. Not sure what I did. But anyway, so, and if you can believe this one, other than this box in here, this meanders, connects here, and meanders all through. So I pulled my hair out doing this one. I really did. But anyway, there you go. There's a little bit of behind the scenes today. My page is all smudgy now. Behind the scenes, and I showed you a little bit about doing complex pattern with breaks. And hopefully you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments. And I encourage you to kind of experiment and do some of your own stuff and have a little bit of fun, make some mistakes, and draw some more. Alright, until next time, everybody have a great day, week, month, whatever it is you got, and happy drawing. Bye-bye.